Okay, I'm live. I'm live again. And boys, there are lots to cover today. Lots to cover today. Just gonna do the typical thing these days and wait for a few people to trickle on into the stream. In the meantime, let me just make sure I'm getting this shared to my social media pages. Looks like today's going to be a much nicer day, anyways, in terms of weather than yesterday, that's for sure. So that's at least a good thing. I should mention too that this is my first stream. I might as well mention now this is my first stream where I'm broadcasting not just to YouTube, but I'm also broadcasting to Periscope. So my first venture into trying the whole Periscope live streaming as well. Of course, not many people know I'm even on Periscope because this will be my first time using it. So I don't expect to get too many extra people at this particular time over there. But hey, what the heck? Like I say, better to have redundancy anyways, just by the sheer fact that you know, our voices are being somewhat limited or restricted due to the fact that I'm covering this particular topic, or anyone that's covering COVID-19 is having their content basically scrutinized. So more options I get, the better. Anyway, like I say, just waiting to see a few people end up showing up to the stream here. Once I see there's a few in the chat, then I'll get busy on covering all the crazy latest stories and articles and government overreach as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Just got cut off a live video on my Twitter. I just get cut off a live video on my Twitter. Wow. Wonder why that could be. I don't know if you were talking about COVID. There's some crazy stuff's going on. Good morning, Derek. Good morning. Good morning. Like I say, seems like most peeps are either still in bed this morning or maybe someone else is streaming and they're over there, or maybe no one's got the notification yet. I don't know. Like I say, it's up in the air these days, but I am going to give it a couple minutes here because I'd like to see at least a few more people show up to the stream before I start dealing with some of the very, very important topics that I'll be covering today. Like, actually, let me just open up my Twitter and see what's going on here. Did my post go out? Although most people do is say they get the notification from YouTube itself. Yeah, it showed up there 3 minutes ago. So it's been 3 minutes, I guess, maybe. What? Why is it showing up twice? Well, that's weird. Oh, there. Oh, I see. Okay. My bad. Oh, it's the Periscope. Aha. Very cool. So it comes up both on there for the YouTube and the Periscope. So I guess actually the Periscope is actually embedded in Twitter. That's pretty cool. So you can actually just watch it embedded in Twitter. Right on. Right on. What happened to my notifications? Huh. Odd. Very, very odd. Anyways, let me close that up so I'm not using up too much. Oh, there's a few people in there. What's going on, Scott Hunt? Nice to see you this morning. Or not see you, but hear from you. At least see you the good morning. Anyways, like I say, got lots of stuff to cover this morning. Hey, Mama Bear. Yeah, great morning to you too there, Derek. Like I say, sorry about you getting kicked off of Twitter or your stream there, but good morning, Mama Bear. Hi, how is everyone doing? Sandy Kueffin? Some of these last names are a little difficult, especially when you're hearing them or seeing them for the first time. Queffin. Queffin? Sorry about that if I'm not pronouncing that properly. Good morning to you, though, Sandy. You look like someone that's new. Same with looks like Holly S. Good morning, Holly S. Looks like Holly's new to the stream as well. And if both of you are new to the stream, if you wouldn't mind, and everyone else, of course, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, because that would be greatly appreciated. And I'm not sure if most of you are watching this on the YouTube channel. I would suspect that's the case. But like I said, I've begun this stream. This is my first stream where I'm broadcasting to Periscope as well. So you have two options today if you want to watch on YouTube, or if you want to watch it through Periscope, the Periscope app. Oh, sorry, I skipped one here. Hey, Dan Brannigan. Hey, from another Canadian. Nice to see another Canadian in the chat. Well, obviously, as the Canadian Libertarian, that's the kind of people I try to reach out to and appeal to, because, yeah, the Americans, they got all this stuff covered. There's lots of liberty fighters and warriors or leaders down there that, are doing their thing. In Canada, pretty small amount of us up here, so it's always good to see that there's more and more Canadian peeps showing up to the stream, because that's, those are, you guys are, and gals are the peeps I'm really trying to reach out to, because Canada, unfortunately, we don't have that anti-government rebellious spirit built right into us. Unfortunately, some of us do. Some of us, we possess it. A lot of us probably because, well, I know for me in particular, because, growing up, especially in the 70s and 80s, right? I mean, we were babysat by the television, us latchkey kids. And it was always American programming, right? So a lot of us got or at least a portion of us got a sniff of that, very independent, self-reliant, screw the state, right? Get out of my, don't tread on me. A lot of us did, or at least, no, I shouldn't say a lot of us. I should say at least a portion of us did get that kind of upbringing, and I'm very glad that it stuck with me, because when I look out there on the Canadian landscape these days, or even talk to some of my fellow Canadians, it's a lot of them missed out. They missed the boat, right? When there was a journey of liberty, yeah, they were a little late to boarding, so they missed the vessel entirely, right? Unfortunately, that's a sad thing with Canada. There is a lot of conformity, and the sad part of it, it's like a kind of suffocating conformity where it's almost not quite as bad as the British, but in Canada, where you pretend everything's okay, pretend we truly, or I shouldn't say we, I do, but a lot of other Canadians pretend they care about freedom and liberty on this stuff, but in reality, it's just boutique, little aspects of liberty that they like for themselves, but they're more than willing to destroy anyone else's liberties if they don't agree with it. So it sounds good, like the land of the strong and free, right? Up here in the brave and the cold, the strong and the free, right? Us resilient Canadians. And it did used to be like there was a substantial portion of the Canadian population, back 150 years ago where you could say that, right? But nowadays, no. Big government has turned a lot of Canadians into pretty flimsy people, and can't stand on their own 2 feet without government propping them up some way. And that's just a reality, right? What's going on, Howard G? Sorry, I'm already going on a rant already. Imagine that. Imagine Bennett going on an anti-government rant. Well, yeah, of course you can. That's kind of what I do, right? What's going on? Hi. Oh, it's good to hear that it's a beautiful day in the Alberta, out in the old patch. Hey, what's going on, Frank Gall or Gale? Pronounce the E or no? What? Good morning, sir, to you. Anyways, you as well, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button and subscribe to the channel. Try to counteract the slow growth, or the declining growth, I should say, if we can, if it's possible. If not, it is what it is. Good morning, Tommy Gunn. Good morning to you. It's French. Aha, yes. Coueffin. That's the thing, though. It's like Coueffin. Sometimes I could pronounce the French. Actually, I wasn't too bad at French early on, but because I didn't care for school that much, just school in general, it wasn't necessarily the subject matter. I actually enjoyed science and math, and I didn't even mind. Well, my French teacher, it's funny because my French teacher, her name was, in middle school, I guess you would call it, what was her name? Miss McMillan. So obviously she didn't sound like she had a French. Maybe it was because she was married to someone else, but so maybe she was actually French. and had a French maiden name, right? Because I only knew her by her, obviously, her married name. But yeah, she was a great teacher. And it was the fact that she was a great teacher was the only reason, or one of the main reasons why I was interested in learning French. And when I was younger, I learned it out pretty well. The je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, all that stuff. It was actually good because she made learning fun. That's one thing about education that's so vitally important, is to make it fun, at least engaging, right? If it can't be fun, at least make it engaging. But anyways, enough with that. But yeah, brainwashed masses. Yeah, there's a few of them in this country, right? A few, especially if you read those polls or the numbers from those polls, although I don't trust polls. I mean, come on. They sample 1,000 or 2,000 people and suggest that represents the rest of Canada. But in reality, we all know how you can manipulate those polls just based on the sampling, the type of people that you sample. And think about the kind of people that want to take these kind of polls anyway. So, right, it's not truly a representation of the population. But hey, the ones that do take it, the message and the reason why they do those polls is to send a message to the rest of us Canadians is, hey, that's what your fellow Canadians want, so you better get on board, right? That's a way to manipulate you into thinking that you better conform, right? That's really what polls are used for mostly these days. Sorry, I didn't even read your comment, Mama Bear. Dreary in the oh no, is it crappy up in the GTA? Bummer. I can't wait to get out for some good long walks in comfortable weather. Oh, look, my drink even matches my shirt this morning. I don't know if you can see that. Cream soda. I know. It's actually not even a diet or anything. It's a little bit too much sugar, but it was on sale. It was for a good price. So what the hell, right? Yeah, I long walks and comfortable weather. They say 2020 is going to be the hottest year ever. I don't see that happening. I don't know. Hey, you just never know, right? Even whether you're talking about the Farmer's Almanac or the billions of dollars spent in the high-tech environment Canada over the years is, they can barely get it right for the next couple of days. So once you get out that far, you could probably toss a coin and be almost as correct, right? We love your rants. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you do. Some people do, right? That's the thing with this whole thing. Some do, some don't. It depends. If you agree with my stance and aren't a big statist, you probably do. If you're a statist and you love you some big government and you hate the truth, right? You don't like objective reality being pointed out to you on a regular basis. Well, you don't like me very well. I know I've met those people, not just in person, but a lot of them online. But thanks for the kudos there, Mama Bear. I know you're along the same lines and you care about your liberties as well, which most people should. That's the part I keep saying all the time too, is like, it's weird when you have people getting angry at you for saying, hey, you should have your freedoms and liberties, right? You should have them respected, right? It's like, no, I shouldn't. No, I should be, oppressed, and so should you, I guess. Like, okay, all right. How about you worry about yourself and you leave me out of it, right? If you like your oppression, if you got that Stockholm syndrome pretty heavy, how about you just go for that, right? I'll leave you to your own misery. But I don't want to be part of your company. I'm waiting for the protest. Got my posters made up. Right on. Like I say, I hope that actually does. If that's the one that Mark Friesen and a bunch of them are putting on out there in Ottawa. Like I say, I hope it turns out great. That's what I should be working on right now. Good idea, Sandy. Oh yeah, right on. Get some posters made up. Cool, awesome. Yeah, I got nasty scar on my head that proves cowardice of many peeps, but it's now mark of honor for my fans. Rest in peace, Halsey. What? Geez, what happened to you there? Nasty scar on your head that proves cowardice of many. Wow, that doesn't sound good. Well, they could go F themselves. Yes, they could, right? Some of them probably do, right? You got to remember, sexual deviancy is pretty prevalent these days, and people will pretty much fuck anything, right? So, yeah, themselves too. I mean, if they have the capacity and the length, right? I guess. All right. Sorry. All right. Anyways, never mind that stuff here. Never mind. No one's been able to say my name, so no biggie. Sorry about that. I'm going to try. I'm really going to. Cueffin. That's cool. Cueffin. I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, I know. That's just me trying to. I'm trying my best here. Sorry. Now the government's going to fine you if you do not believe or dispel current. Yeah. Well, actually, already signed up July. Right on. Yep, on the hill. Nice. Ouch, you're making me scared to go protest. Okay, anyways, folks, so let's get serious here because I want to cover this first article, which wow. I mean, like, it's crazy. Like I say, when the media reports on these things, like, do you not like does anybody sit and talk to each other in there? Do you not realize how ridiculous you all sound? When you're not actually thinking critically about the issues and you're just, just going in the fly by the moment in terms of, putting out these articles. It's just unbelievable. Anyways, so this out of CBC News under the world section, as you can see, let me expand on the text. So, like I say, I always try to make it so that not only can I see it pretty good, because that's the thing. I do got a little pair of those cheap reading glasses that you can get at like not these mine's not from the dollar store. I think I got them at Shoppers Drug Mart. They're good for reading, but I try not to use them as if I don't have to, right? So that's the thing about being able to expand on the text and on the screen. It's like, yay, yay. Anyways, and plus it helps obviously you folks be able to see the text on the screen as well. So like I say, this under the world section, world also on brink of hunger pandemic, head of UN Food Agency says, warns more people could potentially die from economic impact than from coronavirus. Well, hello, a little late to the game. Now, this is an actual, like I told you before, folks, see how that's an Associated Press? So basically, all this is CBC. CBC didn't come up with this article or none of their regular contributors, obviously, right? Obviously, this was an article reported by the Associated Press, but that's what a lot of media outlets do is they just copy and paste and put it on their own publication, and that's what CBC has done here. But yeah, like at least the Associated Press, AP, thanks for finally coming around and catching up to speed. You're only what? I don't know when was the first time I started pointing this stuff out, a month ago, at least. I don't know, but hey, better late than never, right? At least now some of the people that are watching these establishment media outlets are finally starting to hear some of the stuff people like myself have been saying for a while that, yeah, looks like the cure is going to be worse than the actual disease. And like I say, the way it's panning out already, I mean, that writing was on the wall quite a little while ago, but I mean, anyone with their eyes open wide can see that, yeah, the economic pain and consequence that's already taken place this early on is already showing to be greatly outstripping the detriments of the actual virus itself. So this was April 21st, 2020. I'm just going to read a little bit here. The head of the United Nations Food Agency warned Tuesday that as the world is dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, it is also on the brink of a hunger pandemic that could lead to multiple famines of biblical proportions within a few months if immediate action isn't taken. World Food Program, WPF, Executive Director David Beasley told the UN Security Council that even before COVID-19 became an issue, he was telling world leaders that 2020 would be facing the worst humanitarian crisis since World War II. So apparently, some information was already going out and being passed around these big giant conglomerates, these world governing bodies, these, like I say, these quasi governing institutions, which to me, it's like, can we get, like I say, we got to get as far away from these kind of global systems to a more, not just countrywide, but like more local. I mean, I have nothing against having people all around the world and having to be able to communicate with each other, but these people are talking about, these organizations basically suggest a one-size-fits-all approach, right? So, yeah, I'm all about competition because competition is what raises and elevates us, even in whether you're talking about economics, but even in the personal or social situations. So, obviously, they were even saying before the COVID-19 that the world was already on the brink, or a large portion of the world, because that's the thing. They try to collectivize this as if it means we all are. Doesn't mean that would mean that, like I say, they're using a general statement. Some countries are obviously going to be in a worse predicament than others, right? And I would suggest probably a lot of third world or emerging countries that would be maybe more susceptible to starvation. Although, like I say, we're definitely not done yet. Could very well come to some of these modern Western democracies, because as we're seeing, there's already areas of the food supply chain that's being greatly disrupted with a lot of these meat packaging plants that are now starting to close down. Farmers not being able to have enough people to pick the crops, or having to dump out, millions of liters of milk. I mean, you see there's already lots of things that are happening to the food sources, even in very Western developed countries as well. But the fact that they knew about this prior They should have been, they should have been putting the warning out there. Don't, if they want to be these global leaders, right? They should have been telling these heads of government that, hey, whatever you do, don't do anything that could cause harm to your food supply or your chain in terms of your food chain, so that you have ample production and ability for people to go to work and provide these things that we need, to sustain ourselves. Because we humans, that's one thing we cannot avoid, right? Is food. We got to eat to live. That's just a reality for every one of us, all 7+ billion of us. So they should have been, rather than governments, if they were privy and knowledgeable of this stuff, because they were, somebody in government, somebody in the Canadian government, somebody in the American government, trust me, somebody knew that what was going on, because they have all these UN meetings where all these countries get together all the time. So they knew before even COVID broke out that, there's potential precarious situation for a lot of people that could starve to death. Pretty bad way to go too, starving to death, right? That's a rough way to die, starving to death. And like I say, how many people? How are those numbers? Are those numbers being tracked right now? I don't know. But at the very least, this is at least evidence that suggests that some people were at least in the know. And yet, look at how things have unfolded. Lockdown seemingly across the board for most countries, with only a very few exceptions or outliers saying, no, we're not going to destroy our economy. We're not going to destroy liberties. We're going to practice some safety. We're going to tell our citizens some good practices, to use some social distancing, wear masks and all that. But no, we're not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater, and we're not going to destroy our entire economy or the very pretense of liberty and freedom, just for a virus that has the potential. And we're seeing now where the numbers might be because of the test now ratio could be, where it's actually basically in line with the typical yearly flu, right? So good at the least to see that this is being reported on. That's because of wars in Syria, Yemen, and elsewhere, locust swarms in Africa, frequent natural disasters, and economic crisis, including in Lebanon, Congo, Sudan, and Ethiopia, he said. This guy, and he talks about the biblical proportions. Seems like this guy's been reading the book of Revelations, right? It almost sounds like it, doesn't it? Beasley said today, 821 million people go to bed hungry every night all over the world, and a further 135 million people are facing crisis levels of hunger or worse. And a new WFP analysis shows that as a result of COVID-19, an additional 130 million people could be pushed to the brink of starvation by the end of 2020. So think about it, 130 million people could be pushed to the brink of starvation. So whether that number is high or low, but think about how many people have died or succumbed to the COVID-19 virus in comparison to 130 million people. Or even without taking the potential of that 130 million, 821 people, 1 million around the world already go to bed hungry, and 135 million of them are facing crisis level. So crisis level means, you're on the edge, right? You're on the precipice of starvation, which means you die. So you're talking hundreds of millions of people here, which is a massively huge number in comparison or contrast to those who have succumbed or died as a consequence of COVID-19. And even the ones who have succumbed or died as a consequence of COVID-19 or contacting the virus, it doesn't mean that they actually died specifically from the virus either, because that's another thing that's seen from a lot of the breaking reports now by some genuinely knowledgeable people in the field, not the media hacks. You have to look for that kind of information. But those knowledgeable people are saying that a lot of these people are, when they die, they're just putting on them because doctors or people in the medical field are being told to just chalk them up as being the cause of death as COVID-19, or that COVID-19 contributed to the death, when in reality, like I said a couple times in my past streams, is, if you're a heavy smoker for the last 40 years, like smoke 2 packs a day, right? Maybe 400 or 500 pounds obese, really out of shape. You get labored breathing just by, getting up and going to the washroom, right? I mean, these people, and then they contact the COVID-19. Now, normally they would have survived it, most likely, but because they placed themselves in such a terrible physical condition, health-wise, then they succumb. So like I say, a lot of these numbers that are attributed or being contributed to death in terms of COVID-19, in terms of contacting other people with COVID-19 and getting the virus itself, it might very well prove to be not genuinely reflective of the actual reason for death, right? So like I say, these numbers make all the numbers in terms of whether you look at it on how they're measuring it with the false measurements, or even when you come out with the real numbers once they've all been figured out after the fact, is these numbers are definitely going to pale in comparison to hundreds of million people that are starving, and now hundreds of millions more that are going to be placed in even more precarious situations because of the reaction by governments to this COVID-19 outbreak, right? So anyways, that was, like I said, that was the most important article that I definitely wanted to cover and get to, because that's something that people need to talk about. And once again, it gives you a talking point to use when you're out there talking to all those fear mongers, or those people that just keep repeating and regurgitating political talking points by their media mouthpieces or their political masters. Is just bring this stuff up. Bring, what I'm bringing here, just keep this stuff fresh in your mind and push back against them. Well, do you want people to starve to death? How many millions of people have to starve to death, right? Like, that's what I would bring. Because what they're doing is they're trying to tug at your heartstrings and pretend that you're immoral or uncompassionate towards people if you want to have your liberties respected, right? Or if you want to be able to go to work and provide for yourself or your loved ones, right? So like I say, when they're trying to target your heartstrings and playing this guilt trip, flip that script. Use it right back at them. That's what needs to be done, folks. Or of course, you could always just try talking them, with common sense, right? But like I say, common sense isn't so common anymore. So I don't know how well that'll work out for you. But hey, by all means, give it a shot, right? If all else fails. Anyways, I'm just going to get back into, like I said, I got a lot to cover. So I'm going to try to get through the comments quicker. But yeah, there's lots to cover today. I didn't even know if I was going to cover or do a stream today, but I said, yeah, I can't get too far behind. Do not trust the EU. Yeah, I don't trust any central planners. So, hey, what's going on, Mr. G Rich? Mr. G Rich in the house. Nice to see you in the chat, Mr. G Rich. Yep, I'm sure everyone's having a pretty good morning. Hey, what's this? Another new one. Hey, nice to see another new person in the chat. Hello. And hello to you too. If you wouldn't mind there, Laz Jakonohoff? Or is that an I? Oh, Yakonohoff or Akonohoff. Sorry, I know I'm probably butchering that name too. Stop trying to pronounce people's names, but you're messing this stuff up. But anyways, hello to you. And if you wouldn't mind, like I say, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, which would be really appreciative. Okay. And what's this? Oh, I think we got another one here. Missy Leger. Well, actually, if it's French, it's Legere, right? Maybe it's Mrs. Leger. Sorry, once again. Oh, come on, Bennett. Sorry. Anyways, hello, all you beautiful patriots and awake beeps. So happy to see others questioning Nova Scotia tragedy. Good vibes. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be covering that tragedy again in an upcoming stream, but I'm just going to wait. Like I said, I don't want to do it just to be the guy, I got there first, right? So just like my stream I did yesterday, I want to deal with the situation as it's unfolded and the information. I don't want to dive in and speculate too much because, like I say, a lot of people going through some hard times as a consequence of that particular tragic event, and I don't want to, I don't want to make anything worse or cause any more confusion. Right? That already happens plenty enough out there. So I'm just going to hold off and wait and see if some more revelations or information comes to light, and then kind of deal with it and really dig down to it after that, because I definitely want to do it service and cover it, as objective and as honest as humanly possible, right? Where's the beef? Where's the pork? Yeah, I know. That's crazy. Well, yeah, that's the thing. And once summer comes, people are definitely going to be, want to crank up the old barbecues and stuff. I know I am. I've been anxiously chomping at the bits because for the years I was living up in Ontario in the apartment because of whatever happened in the past. Anyways, I didn't get to enjoy my beautiful barbecues. I love barbecuing so much. Unless I did actually, but not for myself. I had to go visit relatives, like the in-laws and stuff, and then I could have a barbecue. But now that I'm back on the East Coast, I'll be able to do that myself. And yeah, I'm hoping that meat's already expensive enough as it is. Like hamburger, oh my God. You have to wait for it to go down, to get on sale. And now it's considered a sale price. It's like $4 a pound, right? $4 a pound is considered sale price, which is already ridiculous because I remember for years and years, for so long, right? Especially before like the financial crisis and all this money printing that's completely put inflation at a really ridiculous level. But 99 cents a pound was normal, right? You could spend a little bit more if you wanted to like the extra lean and all that. And you could get it even cheaper if you went with like just the regular ground beef. But now it's like now you're just waiting for a sale price of $3.99 a pound. That's a sale price. Otherwise, you could be paying like $5.99, $4.99, $6.99, depending on how lean you want your meat. It's crazy. It's crazy. It really is. Oh, well, appreciate that. Actually, Mrs. Leger or whatever, if you're tweeting this out, yeah, I would really appreciate. But I wonder if it matters because if they're on Twitter, you can also watch this because this is my first stream. Like I say, that it's on Periscope, so they can watch it either through the YouTube app, the YouTube platform, or they can watch it through Periscope as well. So if you want to let them know that. But thank you very much for helping me out and and tweeting this out. Really appreciate it. It's getting harder and harder to find good deal, huh? Yeah. Oh, you were talking. Okay. Well, how are gun sales around GTA? Wondering if you know. I don't know. I would imagine they're probably higher because that's usually what happens, right? When people recognize that that they're coming for their guns. Well, all it usually does is it does the exact opposite of these central planners what they want, and it just causes more and more people to want to go out and get them. So, right? I would think, anyways. Hey, what's going on, Leo? Right on, Ben. I've been asking my viewers the same thing. Shall we destroy our lives to save 2,000 people? Nature has oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you can only type so much in there. Listen, and I mean, I have compassion for all the people. And like I say, it's not that this is the problem why no one, and because the media is not properly having these conversations, that's the thing. If the hacks in the media or these politicians would actually have the right conversations and be honest and forthright with their positions instead of playing politics, then Canadians would be more acceptable to doing the right thing and accept that, we can't keep this country on lockdown, right? We just can't do it, folks. It just can't be done without, like I say, the remedy causing more harm than the potential of the coronavirus. I mean, come on, you need some adults, but that's the problem with the media. They're not leading the story with actual adults who've decided to put their political bias on the back burner and do what's right, not just for them, but for the greater good of the country at large. That's the thing. I'm not even one of these people that believes in the bullshit altruism where I must constantly sacrifice myself or my life for this greater good, because sometimes the greater good is some really, really evil shit. So I like to select. If I'm choosing to sacrifice myself, I want to make sure I'm doing it for the right reasons, right? But I mean, what's with these hacks in the media? They would all pretend that they're altruistic, that they're moral beings, that they care about ethics and all that, but yet they're not willing to do that. They're all seemingly willing to put their morals and the ethics on the back burner and play politics, which tells you, like I say, these people are completely misrepresenting who they are or the content of their character, right? Right? I mean, come on. Bunch of fakers, man. Fake it till you make it, but they're never going to make it because, like I say, they don't have the right ideas. That's the thing. Liberty. Oh, what are we going to do? Give people freedom. That's what you should do first and foremost. Just like with the slaves, right? Who's going to pick the cotton? Listen, I don't know. And I don't know if you give people freedom. I don't know how bad the coronavirus might be. But listen, just like with slavery, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe nobody would be able to pick cotton if you got rid of slavery. But, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to worry about the fact that slavery is wrong. It's immoral. It's illegit, unethical, right? And let's just get rid of slavery, right? And you know what? The people that were fearful of what would happen if we get rid of the slaves? Well, imagine that. Innovative and creative minds and the entrepreneurial spirit created these things, these big machines that can do the job of those slaves and at a much more efficient manner, right? And now you no longer needed the slaves to pick the cotton. Just like today, people, we need big government. No, you don't need big government for shit. You just believe you do. Why? Because that's been jammed in your head since you're a little kid, right? You need people to protect you. Just like that shooting in Nova Scotia. We need the police to protect us from bad people, from criminals. Really? Well, listen, there was a criminal on the loose for 13 goddamn hours in Nova Scotia. Not only did the police not protect anybody from dying, at 22 people, right? But it was the guy screwing up himself and getting trapped. He basically was the one that caused his own demise, right? So, no. So that's the thing. People that believe that you have to give up your liberties for some false pretense of safety or security, like how many times they got to be proven time and time and time again? All you're doing is giving up your liberties because you're never going to get that safety and security that you believe that the government's going to hand you, right? Just keep looking around that next corner, right? Look for it. Surely that safety and security that government can promise me from cradle to grave, it's just around the corner, right? Well, you just keep going around the corner. Let me know the minute you start getting dizzy, right? Because it's not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen. Anyways, Don Cummins just checking in, brother, with the latest news from China per Confucius. Yeah, man who get to bed with itchy bum, wake up with sticky fingers. Man who go to bed with itchy bum, wake up with stinky fingers. Hope that gets you going here in the new. Oh, Canada, China. Yeah, that actually did a great job, Don Cummins. That's awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Man who go to bed with itchy bum, wake up with stinky fingers. Yeah, that did. That was good. Thanks for that this morning there, Don. That was awesome. Just shared on Twitter. Thanks. My Twitter is Red Rose Patriot. Oh, well, yeah, mine's Canadian_Libertarian. Just follow me and I'll follow you back. No problem there, Missy. Yeah, really appreciate that. Again, like I say, really, really do. And yes, we definitely have to stick together. Stop playing this divisiveness and stuff, right? Yeah, we really do. Really, really. It's so important, especially at this time, folks. And like I say, I'm more than willing, even myself, to put aside some of the petty differences I had with some other peeps, but like I say, a lot of them aren't. So I'm more than willing to put things aside in the name of liberty. But I don't know. Right on. Give me liberty or give me death. They will starve us if we remain carrying in homes. Yeah, you can't give them that. That's a thing. It's like a little trial run, not just for universal basic income or socialism, which is what they're doing too, but to see just how conformist the Canadian people are. And like the Canadians are sending a very loud, clear message to their political overlords. And that's, we're more than willing to do whatever you say. Just feed us, right? Just give us some of that give us some of that forced income and wealth redistribution. Give me the promise that you're going to take care of me from cradle to grave, and I'll give up all of my liberties. That's the message that Canadians are sending to these authoritarian hacks, and it's a sad, sad reality. Love when you go Sam Kinison with all the smell of napalm in Mississauga morning. Sam Kinison. Right on. I'll add you next week, love. I've stopped banning myself from social media for a week. Oh, okay. I need to break. I was tired of being really pissed off every day. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you gals are talking back. Yeah. Hey, I hear you, Mama Bear. Sometimes it is wise just to take a little break. I know I had to there for a little while myself even, and it didn't last too long. I'm back hard at it obviously now, but that temporary reprieve, it was definitely welcome. And everyone, like I say, everyone should at least take a little bit of time out of your day. Oh, sorry, I haven't taken that off the screen yet. Sorry, folks, I get rambling on here. Sorry about that. But yeah, do what you have to do to keep your mind free and clear and not be too overburdened with shit, because then you might have to find yourself turning towards more substances or something to distract you from the pain that you're inflicting on yourself. So yeah, keep your mind relatively clear and concise and like healthy, right? I definitely agree. Hey, Missy, you can check out a channel called Little Gray Cells. He's doing great work on the nose. Yes, cool. Right on. Ben, we need to show these facts. I always show them how Sweden is doing well without lockdown. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Actually, yeah. Now that you mention it there, Leo, let me just gonna see 12:01. How far am I behind on the chat? I'm not too bad, actually. Let me scroll down here real quick so I can get back to. Oh, that's awesome, Missy. I really appreciate that. Like I say, anybody can help me, because that is the main reason why my channel is not getting it out in terms of reach, is because I don't have very high click-through rate. People aren't really watching my videos. Even my streams are only getting a couple hundred views these days. My stuff in the past used to get thousands, but like I say, but as you know, and my subscriber count has been slowly dropping off. So, you lose a subscriber here or there, but if you don't have new ones to replace it, then the algorithm tells them that, well, this channel is not very important, so they don't put me in the recommended section. So it is unfortunate, but I do need a lot of people's help to kind of get me over that. And then once I do get, more of my channel being put in the recommended section, then it becomes like a self-fulfilling, right? Where it does now more and more people are seeing the video, they click on it, check it out, they become interested in it, and then they subscribe. If I can get at least heading in that general trajectory, then like I say, I'm pretty sure I could get a fairly substantial higher amount of people that are following the channel. But in the interim, it's like, yeah, even getting up that first or getting over that first hurdle it's proven to be quite difficult. So anything you can do to help me, that is great. Kevin Hayes, what's going on? I think this is another new one to the stream. Once again, I'm appreciating seeing all these new people come to the streams. And if you don't mind hitting that like button and subscribe to the channel, once again, I'd really appreciate that. How's Trudeau going to try to sell us the package? How we're supposed to pay back 200+ billion, right? I know, that's the thing. And especially if you're a young person today and you're supporting like this CRB or the student program where now they're just going to pay students to not work over the summer. I mean, I get it, folks. And I was young at one point too, and I don't want to do this to the young people because like really, I know how difficult it is to say, oh, I don't want free money, right? Someone's offered me free money. And then you got people around you say, yeah, but trust me, you're going to have to pay tax your whole life. So you might as well take back whatever you can get out of it now, right? Whatever you can get out of the system now, you might as well, because they're just going. And that's all true. It is all true. But like I say, at some point in time, this only continues on indefinitely until like we enter the full-on socialist realm where the entire economy and society breaks down like fully, right? So at some point in time, we do, and I don't know which generation it is. Even like I keep saying, hey, if Gen X, if we got to be the ones to step up the plate and like lead by example, it's rough. I know we've already had enough shit imposed on us now, but I'm one of those Canadians like I'll take whatever losses I've had. I'll take the fact that the government's plundered my income for decades of my life and I'll never get that back. And I've barely ever used government services, which means like I say, I'll never get it back, but I'm more than willing to say, okay, I don't care. I've lost that money. There's no point in crying over spilt milk, right? Dairy cartels, right? Millions of liters per week, by the way, but I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. It is what it is. But to make sure that these younger generations don't continue on this cycle of madness of intergenerational theft or, making successive generations debt slaves. I think we as Gen Xers should at the very least lead by example and say, no, I'm not taking your goddamn bailouts because all that is, because that's the thing. All these bailouts are, folks, is going to be imposed on someone at some point in time in the future, which is it's going to be paid back in taxation or inflation. Because if the government can't get it back from you by direct taxation because they realize, well, if I take more from people than they actually have, or I start taking so much that they can't even get by in life, well, if they can't do it through direct taxation, they'll do it through inflation, which means for your whole life, you're going to be that dog chasing his proverbial tail, where you think every time you get a wage increase, but the price of everything that you consume continues to outstrip your wage increases. Well, like I said, that's where you're going to be constantly going underwater. And because it's done like that, death by 1,000 cuts, most people don't realize just how detrimental it is. But if you want to know how detrimental it is, I've brought this, and I'll get back as soon as possible. But I brought this up to a couple employers I worked for when I was doing construction there a few years ago. And just to get people thinking, especially when there's other people that are standing around, right? Because I love to get, especially people in construction, get them to think, because a lot of times these people aren't thinking about these things a lot of times. But I said to the boss, and a couple of times, but I'll just bring one example where he said, how much are you looking to get paid? This is when I was looking to get employed through this employer in new home construction. And I said, well, it depends. If you want to pay me in quarters that were minted prior to 1966, I'll take $1.25 an hour. Because at that particular time, silver was trading for an ounce. I believe it was roughly in around $19. It was pretty much $20 for an ounce of and that job, it would have been roughly around, at the time, it would have been around $18 to $20 in terms of wage compensation for that particular kind of job. So I said, I'll take 5 quarters, but they have to be minted prior to 1966. Otherwise, yeah, like $20 an hour. It's like, well, that $1.25 seemed like it would have been a hell of a lot better deal, right? Because that's all 5 quarters represent. If you went to go spend those 5 quarters, based on our monetary system, to go to the store, which is representation of this constant inflation effect as a result of central bank policy and all that, then you would see that $1.25, well, you wouldn't even be able to barely get a chocolate bar, right? Maybe you go to the dollar store, you can get a chocolate bar, but in a regular store, that $1.25 might not even buy you a chocolate bar or a drink of soda pop or something, right? Whereas if you convert that, took that somewhere that converted your coin, melted down to silver, and gave you what that silver was worth, then you would be getting $20. Be able to buy at least like 10 chocolate bars or so. So it just goes to show you how much, and that's just since the 1960s, but it goes to show you how much the value, the purchasing power of the currency we use has been destroyed over all those years. But anyways, never mind. If I get on the macroeconomic thing, folks, I could be, as I'm sure a few of you already know, I can definitely go on a rant or two there. They have no idea what they're doing. We need to get our communities together and rise up. I agree. Anyways, like I say, I'm going to get back to some of these articles because, like I say, now this one, since we're talking about, I think someone else brought it up this morning already about, having our voices suppressed. And like I say, I definitely know that my voice is being suppressed. And in terms of YouTube, it seems like there's even admission as such. And because I've had to follow through with the new rules when I'm monetizing my stream, I'm getting this list. Actually, I'll take a screenshot of that so I can show you folks what we have to do now when you're, that's what I'll do. I'll show you on my next one. I'm going to take a screen capture of that and show you exactly the rules that we're now all have to function under if you're a contributor, or if you're a content creator on YouTube. So like I say, let's get to this. Watch. This is from the Daily Wire. YouTube CEO will remove any content that goes against World Health Organization recommendations. This was reported by Hank Berrien in the Daily Wire. Speaking on CNN's Reliable Sources with host Brian Stelter, YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki, I think is how you pronounce it, stated that anything that would contradict World Health Organization recommendations would be removed from the platform. Wojcicki said, "We have actually seen a 75% increase in the news coming from authoritative sources since the beginning of 2020. So we have seen a lot of demand there. But then we also interrupted. What does that mean? That means an increase in video views for those?" Wojcicki continued, "Yes. And so we talk about that as raising authoritative information. But then we also talk about removing information that is problematic. Of course, anything that is medically unsubstantiated. So people saying like, take vitamin C, take turmeric, like those will cure you. Those are the examples of things that would be in violation of our policy. So even if you tell someone to take vitamin C, somehow they're going to take down your video. Has it been proven that taking vitamin C is detrimental to people's health, right? I don't know. But once again, YouTube is seemingly willing to play ball or pretend or suggest that, the people at the WHO, they know better. Whereas, whoever these other people are, don't. Have they done the studies into all these YouTube content creators and actually have a full grasp or understanding of how knowledgeable they are on any of these topics or subjects? Nope. They're just playing this thing. Well, the WHO didn't say it, so therefore it can't be correct, right? What's this? Like I say, how Orwellian is that? Sorry, but you've been experiencing a little bit too much wrong thing, right? What the hell is up with that? Especially considering, and I'm just going to bring this up since, well, actually, no. I'll save it till I'm done this. Because, obviously I have a rebuttal. Just the simple fact that the World Health Organization was out there saying, you don't have to worry about masks. Oh, there's no panic. And we're seeing how many articles are coming out. That's the thing, Susan. Do you not pay attention to those establishment media sources that you trust so much that are even contradict themselves on a regular basis? Or the WHO themselves have had to go back and reverse entirely their stance on COVID-19? This is what I mean. You're basically telling people you should trust this organization that has already been proven to lie and misrepresent the severity of this coronavirus outbreak or what the reaction or response of government should be. So, it's just unbelievable, right? Those are the example of things that would be in violation of our policy. Anything that would go against World Health Organization recommendations would be a violation of our policy. And so remove is another really important part of our policy. So So it's not even that they're just going to demonetize, they're going to remove. And of course, all this stuff, and this is what I worry about myself even, is at some point in time when this all subsides, are they all going to come back to us that didn't follow the rules with 100%? And I've been trying my best, as you know, folks, I've been trying my best. But at the same time, making sure I'm giving people very vital information and knowledge, right? I'm not trying to, manipulate people in any way. I've never told anyone any remedies to use. I'm trying to fit these rules, these very heavily regulated rules, but at the same time, try to, give people genuine knowledge or give people the ability to think critically about these issues. And how is that going to be continued to do? How am I going to continue to do so, knowing that, like I say, it's not even, if they told me they're going to demonetize it, that would suck already. But hey, for the little bit that I make on YouTube, like what? I did finally get my payout, by the way, but because it took me 2 months to get the payout, it was like $150 some. So I was like, okay, go ahead, demonetize my videos if you need to, right? Because I did follow, through with your policies, which like I say, I'm trying my best. I just don't know, because once again, it's open to interpretation as to whether they think I am or not, right? Because they're very vague as well. But what? Potential maybe have my entire channel removed. I have seen people have their entire channel removed with no explanation whatsoever. And to me, that would be the most devastating and detrimental thing, because I've worked very hard over the years. I've got 1,100 some videos on this channel. Now, I do have a lot of them, especially most of the older ones, that are on like BitChute and a few other platforms. But because now my internet connection is limited, I'm not having a lot of those videos, especially my most recent ones that are dealing with this topic, uploaded to alternative platforms. Now, like I say, I do have Periscope, and I have that now, so that I do at least have some redundancy. And the reason why I'm doing that is this Susan here, she's making me very nervous these days. And like I say, and it's causing me to even self-censor, which really pissed me off, because I'm not the kind of person that likes to self-censor. Kind of reminds me when I was supporting the PPCs. Like, I'm not a big fan of self-censoring. And like I say, I don't like doing it. And at some point in time, if I do get messed with, well, I'll just have to go to different platforms. And I do have alternative options but like I say, who would want to have their entire channel or platform upended after putting in as much work as I have over the last 4 or 5 years? Or probably now, it's probably even been longer than that. 6 years probably now. But anyways, folks, so after a live stream video aired on April 6th with David Icke, whom the BBC describes as a conspiracy theorist, in which Icke claimed about the coronavirus that there is a link between 5G and the health crisis, as well as claiming that a coronavirus vaccine would include nanotechnology microchips permitting humans to be controlled, and that billionaire Bill Gates should be jailed, YouTube deleted the video. When the BBC queried why YouTube allowed the video to be aired, a YouTube spokesperson replied. Now, first of all, even if this David Icke is if he is a full-on conspiracy theorist and everything he said is wrong, what is wrong with people being wrong? Like, stop treating people that they're like this. This is Susan basically telling everyone that watches YouTube videos that you're all just a bunch of idiots or morons, and you need her to take care of you and to tell you what's right or wrong, or the WHO, which I'll admit there are a lot of people who do meet that criteria. But the whole point of liberty and freedom of speech is, we treat each other as adults and afford those liberties, even to people who don't, who even do practice wrong thing, right? That is the whole point of freedom of speech, is to allow that to happen, right? Because if everyone's just doing or repeating or regurgitating WHO talking points, there's no need for fucking freedom of speech at all, is there? No, because we're all just acting like Borgs and singing the same chorus. No, the whole point of freedom of speech is to be able to challenge those narratives and even say things that are what you would consider outrageous, or as Susan would consider as outrageous. Susan, your company was founded in America, a country that afforded you all those freedoms, and you have the freedom to say what you have to say in these publications because of those freedoms. How about you reciprocate in kind and afford all those people on your platform that got your company in the position it is today, and allow them to have the same very kind of freedoms that you want to have afforded you, right? Right? Don't you think that's fair, Susan? I do. Not that I expect that Susan's going to be watching my video anytime soon. Anyways, folks, so like I said, I don't have to necessarily go in and read the rest of this. This will be in the link in the description of this stream. But so there's that. And like I say, so Susan's basically saying, if you don't repeat or regurgitate WHO talking points, well, you're bad. And not only is your video going to be or stream going to be demonetized, but yeah, you have the potential of having your channel inflicted negatively as well, or possibly even taken down. And because of that, well, like I say, here's this other article. So it's like, hey, Susan, hey, maybe you should check out a CBC article. Actually, you don't even have to watch a CBC article. There's all kinds of articles out there, Susan, that you could read that will show you, right, from those established sources that we're all supposed to trust. Like, they're the ones that are even suggesting that the WHO failed miserably. And even when they're trying to backtrack or hit them with a soft touch in terms of the rhetoric, right? So listen to this one. This is out of CBC News, and of course, under the politics section, right? WHO set pandemic response back by 2 to 3 weeks, says doctor on new federal task force. I've heard other people say could be 2 or 3 months, not just 2 to 3 weeks. Because if you think, actually, this thing, it might have even been released and known about in late December, but at the very least, early January. And, there was ample time to get this information out to the rest of the citizens of the world, not just big governments, but the citizens of the world. And that's the job of the media, right? But obviously, major fail, even if you just go by this 2 to 3 weeks. And 2 to 3 weeks, that's a lot of time, right? That's a lot of time. It could have definitely played a huge effect on how this whole event or this outbreak unfolded. Despite setback, delay did not completely change the course of the outbreak, Dr. David Naylor says. So, trying to do a little soft pedaling there. This was reported by Peter Zimonjic and Vasi Capellos, April 23rd, 2020. A prominent physician and key member of Canada's COVID-19 Immunity Task Force says the World Health Organization placed too much confidence in Chinese data on the outbreak and set back the world's response by as much as 3 weeks. So, hey, Susan, according to Canada's, this prominent physician, right, and key member of our immunity task force, well, even he is saying that the WHO failed miserably and caused this outbreak or set back the world's response to this outbreak by as many as 3 weeks. And like I say, could be a whole lot longer than that, but just think about what could take place in 3 weeks and how much that could have spread over that 3-week time frame, right? How many deaths are on the hands, or blood is on the hands of these WHO officials who have definitely proven to be wholly incompetent or incapable of doing their job of warning the rest of the world. Because that's the point of having this World Health Organization, is to warn the rest of the world of these potential outbreaks or pandemics, which they obviously failed to do to the tune of multiple weeks, which caused, the outbreak to probably be, or definitely be, much more severe than it could have originally been, right? So, so there's that, Susan. So there's that. I think they were a little too deferential. They knew from SARS-1 that there had been problems with incomplete reporting, Dr. David Naylor told CBC News Network's Power and Politics Thursday. So, according to this person, once again, that they even knew this already. So they already had information to build upon, not just as a consequence of COVID-19, but from SARS-1. So information that was already readily available to the WHO, but yet they failed once again to get that out and get the rest of the people in the world up to speed, right? I think we lost 2 or 3 weeks, and I think that's regrettable. I think it'll come to light when a review is done. Naylor, the former president of the University of Toronto and an inductee into the Canadian Medical Hall of Fame, has been named to a federal task force charged with overseeing the coordination of a national blood testing campaign to see how far the virus has spread and to estimate Canadians' immunity to the disease. So, hey, he even made it into the Canadian Hall of Fame and all this stuff. So, come on. And he's insulting or suggesting, he's basically, Susan, what you're saying is, I guess, if he had a YouTube channel, this former president of the University of Toronto and inductee of the Canadian Medicine Hall of Fame, very acclaimed individual, based on how this CBC report or article is suggesting. I guess what you're suggesting, Susan, is if this gentleman had a YouTube channel and was saying exactly what he's saying contained within this article, well, I guess what? You're going to demonetize and possibly delete the videos? That's what it sounds like to me. How about a little clarity, Susan, Because, those of us out here that really care about what's happening, right, and don't just play politics with it, but actually want to be in the know, want to be knowledgeable on the subject, want to know what the right things to say, what the right responses should be, right? We need to know, and we need to be able to have this information readily available to us, and have to be able to distribute it to others. So if you go do anything to infringe or deny us our ability to do so, you're the one that's causing more harm. Because this doctor is basically saying the kind of things that a lot of other people, or people like myself, has suggested or said in the past, and yet we're being told that, no, that's a no-no. Well, this doctor's saying it. Anyways, folks, long-term care familiar. Well, we'll get into this whole long-term care failure, because that's another thing. Not even being able to protect the vulnerable. That's the thing. All these big governments talk about how and locking everything down, like, oh, we're trying to protect the weak, the elderly, the vulnerable. When in reality, it's those long-term care facilities are the ones that we're seeing or experiencing the most deaths. And these are places that should be much easier to isolate, because you don't need to go to a senior's home to get food, right? The grocery stores, like, that's the thing. There's less things that are happening in places that are still opening. There's less people that are dying from going to the grocery store than there are in these senior facilities. So, like I say, but yet people are told all the time, or actually not even forget about the grocery stores. What about all these retail outlets that are forced to close down, or the barber shops, right, that are forced to close down, and nobody's allowed to get their haircut anymore? I would suggest and say that even if you allowed them to come back to cutting hair, you're still not going to see the kind of severity in terms of deaths or people who are suffering as a consequence of contacting this COVID-19 virus, or contracting those COVID-19 virus. It's happening in these senior facilities. So no matter what government's doing these days, it's constantly showing. And what I guess they're taking their marching orders from WHO, or they're doing what they believe is right, and they're failing as well. So anyways, like I say, I'll move on from this one. Oh yeah, and here's another one, because it basically goes along with the same story, right? So I'm going to stick with this one because this is dealing with the same thing. All right. Okay, what's it start with? The C. So check this one out, folks. Glad to see these publications are starting to cover it, because once again, it's how you have. This is how you have to try to skirt some of these restrictions. And what we're allowed to say is, hey, if I'm referencing, establishment media source, then like I say, going to really prove just how political you're playing things if you try to silence or shut me down for quoting mainstream media sources, right? So that's why I like to use these sources while I'm covering these issues. And this one, as you can see, is out of Forbes. This was breaking April 22nd, 2020. The controversial rumor COVID-19 originated in a Wuhan lab creeps into the GOP mainstream. So even the GOP, right? Official party of the United States government, even they are starting to talk about the potential that this may have happened in a Wuhan lab. Like I say, I'm not suggesting it did. All right. I've never said that it has. I've never put that kind of inkling in anyone's ear, but I have referenced sources, like I say, establishment sources who have suggested as such, or at least people that are in the news media industry. So once again, if this is even something that's being talked about by the GOP, right? So the GOP represents whether you're talking about the senators or the congressmen or Trump himself, which is the president of the United States. If they're even suggesting that this may be a potential and it's worthy of further inquiry or investigation, then why in the hell is it not allowed, or why are we not privy to point at the very same things? That's the thing. The establishment media should not get the ability to say whatever they want, while those of us in alternative or just content creators that try our best to educate and inform other people, why are we being restricted when, like I say, mainstream sources are allowed to do so? I'll just read a little bit from it. Top line: the assertion that COVID-19 originated in a laboratory in Wuhan, China, is gaining traction among prominent Republicans, and reportedly with officials inside the federal government. Even as scientists remain skeptical of the claim, and no hard evidence exists to support it. Yet, right? As far as we know, yet doesn't mean that, like I say, to pretend that you know that it's not the case just because evidence has been found yet. Like what kind of investigation is it? Oh, well, we haven't found evidence this early on. So what? Let's just not even use that as a possibility or potential. What kind of investigator, rules out any possibility when there's anecdotal evidence, but yet they just haven't found real evidence as of yet? No, you would still leave that investigation wide open if there was at least some anecdotal evidence, right? And obviously, the fact of where this came from, the stories as I've reported on from CBC News with the that lab in Winnipeg and traveling back and forth to Wuhan to that level 4 lab in China. Like, come on. Like, really though, this is just insane to try to get people thinking that what? Like I say, sometimes I wonder if these people are just trying to manipulate our minds to the point where they're just going to drive us all into pure fucking insanity, because sometimes it seems like that's the only reason or justification for them doing this kind of shit, right? Anyway, so these are the key facts. I'll just read these and then I'll move on. China has become a rallying point for Republicans looking to cast blame for the crisis in the U.S., with lawmakers accusing the country where the virus originated of covering up the outbreak in its early days. I mean, we already know there's already been anecdotal and real evidence of the fact that they covered it up, right, in early days, right? I mean, that doctor that died basically whistleblowing and saying that he's not allowed to, and the fact that they restricted him from being able to say what he had to say. So we already know that they were covering it up in the early days. So come on. But the theory that the virus spread from a lab is an explosive allegation that first bubbled up in February among conservative media and right-wing lawmakers, disappeared for a few weeks, and has now resurfaced after Fox News and other outlets reported officials inside the government were investigating the allegations. So yeah, Fox News is an established media news source, right? So even if I was referencing a Fox News article, right? So that's the thing. Senator Tom Cotton, Republican of Arkansas, has been one of the most vocal proponents of the theory and penned an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal on Tuesday, laying out his claim, writing, while the Chinese government denies the possibility of a lab leak, its actions tell a different story. President Trump, without citing evidence, said Friday the U.S. government was looking into the claim and that it made sense, and other Republican lawmakers, such as Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republic of Tennessee, have rallied behind the rumor in recent days. So anyways, I guess there's a couple more. Anyways, it's just basically going on. So it's still an ongoing investigation. I guess the director of the Wuhan lab in question, Yuan Ziming, denied the allegation in an interview with the state-run Chinese global television network on Sunday, and a group of prominent scientists concluded in research published in March that the virus came from wildlife. So, I mean, the fact that they would deny it, of course. I mean, but anyways, let's just move on, like I say, because main thing is, we got this on record, and this is coming out of, like I say, establishment media sources. So anyways, let me get back to the chat. Okay. Hey, what's going on, Bernard Hitchinson? I appreciate you joining the stream. Hit that like button if you don't mind there, sir. Thank you very much. Hey, Mom. Oh. Bernie here. Oh, yeah, Bernard. Yeah, Bernie here. All right. Trying to get back up to where I was. Okay. Holy crap. Where the hell did it all go? All right. I see Rika's in the chat. What's going on, Rika? Nice to see you today again. John Lennon. John Lennon. Nisara Gasara. Nisara Gasara. Come on. Why is Trudy paying foreign students? Wow, why doesn't he pay tourists also? Like I say, they want to bring about socialism. That's how you get people hooked on government. Is it's just like a drug dealer. That's how they get you hooked. First one's free. It doesn't get any more simple than that. It's quite simple, actually, right? They want the left in this country. Well, I mean, every country, the left, they want to implement, full on central planning of not just your social life, but your economic lives as well. And how better way to do that than to be your ultimate provider of your income, right? As long as government can become the provider of your income, well, look, right? I mean, they know with firsthand experience that people very rarely bite the hand that feeds them. I mean, look in Canada, there's 4.1 million Canadians that work for the government in some capacity, whether you're talking federal, provincial, or local levels. And how many of them rail against big government or vote against them? They don't. Why? Because big government is what they support and promote and how they get their paychecks, right? So what it is Trudeau and his ilk, these authoritarian collectivists, what it is they want more and more people, in particular the younger ones, right? Because the older people's like, kind of hard to teach an old dog new tricks. But those younger people, yeah, we want to get them early. We want to get them now. We want to be opportunistic and make sure that they're looking towards government to be their savior, to be their provider. Because once you look towards government to be your provider and your savior, and they've got you under their thumb, well, good luck getting out from underneath it. Now, trust me, there's a lot of people, those 4.1 million that work for government, that can't stand the people they work for. But they like that paycheck. They like that promise of that gold-plated pension that's adjusted for inflation, so they can go off and retire at age 55 down there in sunny Florida or some tropical island, right? They're more than willing to say, okay, yeah, it sucks, and this government sucks. Yeah, sure, they're corrupt. They're a bunch of criminals. They lie to people. They're crooks. But if I just keep my mouth shut long enough, I'll be able to escape it all and get paid because they have the ability, or they have the power of the rest of the Canadians' purses and wallet to take whenever they want and redistribute it however they see fit. So they want to get a substantial portion of that younger generation, of those younger generations on board and get into that same kind of mindset. That's how big government stays in sustained and constantly growing, is you got to keep growing the ranks, right? And they're definitely, with the boomers going off in retirement, well, they've got a lot of ranks to fill. As the boomers are going off in retirement, you could be shrinking that government because, like I say, a lot of boomers work for government. A lot of boomers work for government. It's just in my family, my mother's side and father's side alone, it's like, whoa, a lot of people work for government from the boomers anyways, like I say. But as all that cohort is going into retirement, well, government would automatically shrink if you didn't have someone to replace them with, right? So they're hoping that they'll appeal to the millennials because they don't seem to be able to get us Gen Xers. We're a little bit too independent, a little bit too sovereign to join the state at this late stage. So they want to get the younger people. That's what it is, man. Sorry, I just have to bring that stuff up. Wondering if a resident came, someone in the area would confirm what they saw. Okay. We need a global reset. Yeah, that's the thing with the global reset, and this time stacked towards the citizens rather than the state. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The reset could very well, like I say, things are a pretty precarious situation. There's a lot of status among us, so this is a bad time. When the state falls, or if there's disruption to this degree, what replaces it can actually become even worse. Okay, I don't mind like a little bit there, but like if you guys want to communicate or publicize or promote other people's channels or even your own, like this, that's one of my pet peeves with a lot of the people from the fucking PPC. Don't use my channel just to promote your own or to to get views that you fucking like. Ah, man, this shit annoys the fuck out of me. It really does. Sorry, but I don't like that shit, folks. Don't like it. Because like I say, been burnt too many times. Burnt too many times. Burnt too many times. Fool me once. Well, actually, shouldn't say too many times, but like I say, I won't be putting up with that shit. If I gotta prevent you from coming back to stream, then I'll just do that if that's what it takes. But yeah, stop using my channel to promote yourself or to find other channels that you can go watch instead of watching mine. Like, do I look fucking stupid to you or something? Like, I'm just going to fucking, like, no, call me Cupid, not stupid, right? Jesus H fucking Christ. You just brought in more foreign students in January, February 2020. Sheila Gunn Reid did a vid on Rebel Media about it. You got the docs from the government via access to information. Oh. Yeah. Well, like I say, the demonetize Enrica, and I would imagine, I can't imagine them ever shutting down my channel, right? What the hell reason could they possibly? But as far as the demonetizing, I mean, because it at least gives me something, a couple bucks, not a whole lot. Like I say, a few bucks, but like, at least I got $150 the other day. So it's better than a kick in the ass, right? But if they do demonetize me because my income is so low, and even like with the super chats and the members, which I really appreciate all that, but they take 30% of that. So how much would I really be losing out, right? Not the end of the world. So being demonetized, like I say, bring that on if that needs be. But obviously, I care about my channel, right? Worked hard to make this channel. Like I say, 1,100 and whatever some videos that's already up there. Going. Google, YouTube are the modern book burning. Well, I wouldn't say that, because actually Google and YouTube is where you can find a lot of truth and information. That's the thing, folks. You can't just say that entirely because you're watching my channel. Anyways. Yeah, I think I'm just going to get back into, what's it, 12:21? Oh, yeah, I'm quite a ways behind here. Like I say, can you save the promotions of other channels for somewhere else, please? Like, I just would really, really like that. If you're not just, it's a little disrespectful. It's a little disrespectful. Yeah, fuck it. I guess I'll just go back. I was in a good mood. So I think I'm just going to go back and cover these articles, then try to get through them as quick as possible now. Okay, where are we at here? Maybe, I don't know. I might have to do some streams where I don't know. We'll see. So in terms of, the money being pissed around, let me go through these real quick, because lots of money being tossed around, like I was kind of alluding to, trying to get more and more people under the thumb of big government. And of course, we've already heard this being reported by more than a couple articles already, or a couple outlets already. And as you can see, no different coming out of Global News by Marion Shaw, April 22nd, 2020. Coronavirus pandemic raises questions. Is it time for a basic income? Like I say, these fucking opportunists that have been trying to bring about full-on socialism in this country, like I say, they've already got Canada's so close to that precipice already. It's like, what's left? And actually, you can almost make the case. That's how crazy. Your country's already so socialist when you can actually make an economic case that actually a universal basic income might be cheaper than all the other socialist programs that are already in place. And you know what? That is probably true if you want to use the numbers, like the whole numbers game. Now, I'd still say forced wealth and income redistribution, or theft, which is what it is immoral no matter how you crunch the numbers or which way is more efficient, right? If somebody steals, money from me, the one that's more efficient at distributing the money, I could say, well, yeah, that's definitely a more efficient way of distributing the money. And actually, if you're more efficient at redistributing money, that's less money you'll have to steal from me. But I'm still going to say either way, even if you're efficient or non-efficient, that's theft. It's still theft. It's still taken away from me a production of my income or my labor or what I provide against my will without my consent. It's still immoral. It's still unjust and should be downright illegal, obviously. But when you're those in government, you get to write the rules. The legality is whatever the hell you deem it, right? But the fact that you can actually make an economic case, and some proponents are, that it's cheaper to have a UBI than all these, that just tells you that you already have basically a socialist program in this country, and already tells you, well, then that socialism, and so many people are still starving or homeless or, can't buy a home, or you think of all the crap you hear about. That already tells you all those socialist programs with all that bureaucracy doesn't work out very well. But people are saying, well, let's just do it in a different manner, a little more efficient manner. Well, like I say, because these are people that are parasites and socialists, it might sound like it would be efficient, and on the surface, it should. That's how government tries to put forth a lot of the narratives. It's like, oh, well, it sounds good in theory. If they do this, if they just do this, it'll do it better. If we just get universalized healthcare, then it'll prevent people from slipping through the cracks or bad medical results from happening. No, not true at all, right? Hallway medicine. I mean, the hospitals in this country, some of them are so dilapidated and need and serious need of repair and upgrades. But once again, most of that money goes to the bureaucracy, not to the actual facility. So I'd even have an argument or debate with people that try to make the case in terms of, or even try to play that when Milton Friedman was saying, well, yeah, it'd be cheaper, which is basically what I suggest. Helicopter money would probably even be cheaper than some of these stupid, wasteful programs that governments use already. But once again, that's leaving out the fact that you're still going to place these programs in the hands of the same crooks, right? So how efficient are they really going to be? Sounds good in theory, but once the actual reality, once the rubber hits the road, how efficient would they truly be? No, the only thing they'd be efficient at is, like I say, keeping you under the thumb of big government and making sure you keep voting for them so that you keep getting that pretense that, oh, they're going to take care of you, right? Anyways, moving on. The next one. So that's of course, once again, promotion of the UBI, Universal Basic Income, which is just another word for socialism. And then, like I say, for those young folks that Trudeau's definitely desperate to reach out to, is this article out of CBC under the politics section. Of course, Trudeau announces $9 billion in financial support for students. Critics say pandemic aid must flow faster. Students will be eligible for $1,250 a month from May to August. This was reported by Kathleen Harris, April 22nd, 2020. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today announced $9 billion in financial aid for post-secondary students in response to claims that too many young people were falling through the cracks in existing COVID-19 support programs. And it's like all these young people, yeah, go ahead, take your $9 billion worth of financial aid from the government. You know what you're going to pay for that? It's like the people that go out and say, oh, well, I got to put this purchase of my new, I don't know what, laptop on my credit card so I can earn my points. Meanwhile, it takes them, a year to pay off that laptop because they keep making the minimum payment. So that laptop that they saved a couple $100, got it for $499. That's a good deal, man. I got it for $499. Meanwhile, by the time you've paid it off, because of the ridiculous high interest rates, and you've expanded that, that cost over many, many months, way out into the future, that $499 laptop that you get your deal on, if you actually had time and sat down and figured out how much you actually pay for it, when you finally do pay it off, you'd be like, what the hell? I paid $1,200 for that thing. I paid double and then some for it. Well, that's like these young people today. Yeah, go ahead, take that $9 billion worth of financial stimulus, but all it is the government, right, reached into this pocket, pretending they're going to, but they're keeping a good old chunk for themselves. Don't worry about that. And they're going to give you a little bit of that. But like I say, the little bit they're giving you, you wait. Where do you think they're going to get that money from? They don't have it money now. They're just putting that on the unlimited credit card that Trudeau has right now, because he still has till June, remember, of unlimited spending, like unlimited spending. What kind of a fucking Orwellian world do we live in where you have unlimited spending, which the federal liberals do at this point in time? But what he's going to do is that $9 billion, he's going to try to get that back two or threefold. And trust me, because government has the ability, like I say, to tax you or get that through inflation. Trust me, they're going to get it back one way or the other. So like I say, if you're a millennial or younger person today, or anyone taking this money, this financial aid, you're going to pay for it all right, and then some. You might want to think about these things. You might wish that you had someone in your life, a family member, or maybe even just a neighbor or somebody that was like me and telling you some of this truthful information, because it'll save you a whole lot of pain on the back end, on the flip side of this whole thing, right? But of course, like I say, most people in this country, was it 18% of women, 22 or 25% of men. So like basically 1 in 5 that are even financially or economically literate. So that a lot of Canadians are failed. No wonder. And they're getting terrible, terrible advice by the people that are leaders in their life or that they trust. It's too bad for them. If they had someone like me in their life, they wouldn't fall for this nonsense. That's for sure. Students will be eligible for a $1,250 month for May till August. The sum can go up to $1,750 if the student is caring for a dependent or has a disability. The benefit is available also to students who have jobs but are making less than $1,000 a month. For a lot of students, the month of May normally marks the start of summer job. But right now, it might be really tough to find something. You may have been looking for weeks without any success, Trudeau said. Payments will be made through the Canada Revenue Agency. Yeah, the Canada Revenue Agency. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And gee, I wonder why you're not going to be able to find any jobs out there, students. Would it have anything to do with the fact that government made it so that they closed everything down and you don't have any options? Or your options are extremely limited in your potential for employment? Like I say. Anyways, I don't know why I even bother reading too much of this stuff, because it's just all so fucking insane. Trudeau also said students who volunteer over the summer will be paid between $1,000 and $5,000, depending on the hours they work. Your energy and your skills can do a lot of good right now, he said, while you're sitting on government backgrounder document. Said the funding for volunteer efforts will be available to students who choose to do national service and serve their communities. National service? I thought we were post-national state. What's this national service you talk about? Huh? Canada's no longer a nation. Trudeau said so himself. This is Canada. It's a post-national state. So I don't know what the hell national service could even possibly mean. But hey, like I say, not like these folks actually say anything that's consistent. The Prime Minister's office also confirmed that a student can collect multiple benefits if, for example, they apply for the $1,250 benefit, volunteer, and hold a job that pays less than $1,000 a month. So you can double dip, triple dip, whatever. Don't worry. But like you say, wait till you see how much you're going to have to pay that back over the course of your life. Yeah. Oh, you will. Make no mistake about it. The Prime Minister also announced the federal government is doubling student grants for eligible students. Yeah, up to $6,000 for full-time students and up to $3,600 for part-time students. Because, you students just don't have enough student debts. You're going to make sure you can have a whole lot more. Don't worry, he got your back. Oh, man, if you're a parent of any of these students today and you're not telling them this kind of stuff, you're fucking failing them miserably. Other measures announced, and at some point in time, if they ever get wise to this stuff, oh, man, they're going to come back and bite you right in your ass. Other measures announced for students today include raising the minimum weekly amount that can be provided through the Canada Student Loan Program in 2020-2021. More than $75 million in additional supports for Indigenous post-secondary students. Another $291 million for federal granting councils to extend expiring federal graduate research scholarships. Holy crap, and postdoctoral fellowships and supplement existing federal research grant. The Canadian Emergency Response Benefit is available to students and anyone else who made at least $5,000 in the last year, but only if they had been working or lost their source of income when COVID-19. Anyways, folks, this one obviously is going to be added to the description of the video or the stream as well. But holy Christ, come on, really though. Trudeau's out there, like I say, using that unlimited spending spree, that unlimited credit card that all the parties agreed to. Oh, the Conservatives said, no, you can't have it till next year. No, that's too long. So you better spend quick there, Trudeau. That's basically what the message that the Conservative Party sent to Trudeau was like, no, we're going to play politics. Say, no, you can't have unlimited spending power till next year. I know that's what you wanted, but no, we're going to make sure that, you can only do it till June of this year. So in other words, all that message was to Trudeau's, yeah, you better ramp up that spending and do it fast. And which he's doing. It's fucking failures. Bunch of failures. All the establishment parties in this country have failed the younger people and are allowing them to be basically indentured servants and slaves to a ruling class. People that aren't even alive today, that don't even have the ability to speak out or vocally oppose this stuff. And why does the government impose these debts onto future generations? Because yeah, the people that are alive today, if we all of us alive today had to pay for this stuff, well, we'd be all outraged, out in arms, and having a genuine revolution now, wouldn't we? That's why they like imposing those costs on future and successive generations or the unborn, is because yeah, they don't really complain very much, right? They allow the politics and the optics to remain, the illusions they are. That's what happens, folks. That's what happens. And like I say, lots of Canadians go along with this stuff because there's a lot of immoral Canadians in this country, which is why, yeah, I don't have all that warm, gushy feeling about all my fellow Canadians and why I'm not a collectivist. Because like I say, there's some pretty vile people in this country. Vile people, I tell you. So this one, more spending. Spend more, Trudeau. We're almost to prosperity. You just got to spend a couple more $1 billion and we're all going to reach that final destination of socialist utopia, right? We're almost there, folks. Just a few more billion or a couple hundred more billion and we should be just about there. Turn up the printing press, boys. Trudeau announces $1.1 billion to go to vaccine development and case tracking. Right on. The cash announced today is on top of the $275 million in research funding the Liberals announced in March and at the outset of the pandemic. So, like I say, crank up the spending. This is, of course, just a copy and paste Canadian Press from April 23rd, 2020. The federal government will spend more than $1 billion to help develop, test, and manufacture a COVID-19 vaccine, as well as to determine how widely the virus has spread through Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says. The cash announced Thursday is on top of the $275 million in research funding the Liberals announced in March at the outset of the pandemic. Most of the new money is aimed at funding vaccine development and clinical trials, including $600 million over 2 years through a federal innovation fund that the government says could help the country's biomanufacturing sector. Smaller amounts will go to tracking and identifying strains of the virus and the different health impacts it has had on different patients. Trudeau also said the government will create a task force of public health experts that includes Dr. Theresa Tam, Canada's chief public health officer, which once again gave Canadians the wrong information, failed them miserably, and Dr. David Naylor, I guess someone that's actually, hopefully, I guess they brought him in because she's such a failure, right? Who has advised Liberal and Conservative governments on health and science issues. Anyway, so think about it. What they're talking about, the task force will be asked to oversee countrywide blood test surveys to get a better handle of potential immunity in vulnerable. Anyway, so a vaccine, right? And is it going to be mandatory? Well, we'll still have to wait and find that out. But then the other part of this is going to tracking, right? So what's that? What? Someone developed another app, they're implementing an app in this country where they're what? Like doing some of the authoritarian, or they're tracking us by your cell phones and stuff. Well, Trudeau's already alluded to earlier on in a past stream that I covered that he was open to that. Oh yeah, no, I'm open to that, using, your cell phone data and tracking you to keep track of people who have contacted the virus. So is that what this money's going to? You're forcing Canadians that aren't even born today, right, to pay to spy on or to invade our privacies or to track us all across the country and everywhere we go, right? It's a bunch of immoral dipshits, I tell you. So anyways, like I say, there's that. And I believe there was one more. Oh no, this actually has to do with, this next article has to do with let me get to covering it. This article has to do with the border. Because yeah, we heard that the border was, well, at least technically, it was something that Trudeau could close after all. Like we've learned, right? He could have closed the border long ago. He was saying before this COVID-19, when there was tens of thousands of illegals pouring across the border, oh, we can't do nothing because of the safe third party agreement. And sorry, our hands are tied behind our back. We can't do anything legally, all this stuff, right? But yet, as soon as the virus, they found a loophole. They found some way to close off the border. So at least gave us a false pretense that they were at least staving off that growth of illegal asylum seekers pouring into this country. But how's it panning out once it's actually been put into practice? Well, based on this article, doesn't necessarily seem to be working out they originally intended. Imagine that, a government program that isn't working out in the slightest in how they intended it to, right? So this is from the Montreal Gazette. Canada-U.S. border cracks open to asylum seekers under new closure arrangement. This is actually, once again, so it's just a copy and paste from the Canadian press. So from yesterday, a day ago, which was what's the 23rd of April. What's this here? Got a video rolling here. Ottawa, the Canada-U.S. border has opened slightly to asylum seekers under the new framework unveiled this week, extending the historic shutdown. Those who have been crossing irregularly, no, it's illegal. It even says on the sign right down there. It's so hilarious when they try to use these stupid fucking terms that the government basically told everyone in the media, call them irregular, not illegal. They're irregular, but it's illegal. It literally says right at the sign as these people, and the cops even say, you realize it's illegal to cross into this country. It's illegal. Stop fucking playing these stupid politic games with and manipulating the language. It's illegal, for crying out loud. But the federal order laying out the terms of the new border arrangement says those who arrive at formal land border offices and meet certain criteria will be allowed in. So, right? There's always a loophole, folks. Always a loophole. Like I say, government, they put forth a lot of rhetoric, but like I say, the reality never truly matches up. Canada first struck a deal with the U.S. in March to close the border to all non-essential traffic as part of global effort to stop the spread of COVID-19. It banned nearly everyone entered from the U.S. from filing a refugee claim in Canada. The arrangement had prompted immediate criticism that Canada was abandoning its international obligations to asylum seekers, and the new approach is being seen by some as more in line with those commitments. This report by the Canadian Press was first published April 22nd. So, apparently some more hacks at the UN, some of these central planners at the UN, I guess, or some people chirped in Trudeau's ear. And now that pretense that the border was going to prevent illegal asylum seekers from coming in this country, well, once again, proven to be an absolute farce. So once again, folks, what's it going to take? I don't know. Going to take quite a bit yet because Canadians still seem to be more than willing to go along. And actually, yeah, so let me get to these COVID-19. Actually, let me get back to the stream. See what else everyone's going here. Everyone's doing. I've got a few more yet to cover, but government needs to be abolished. Get rid of it. They're a plague on the people. Still plane loads of possibly sick people coming in. Turkeys giving Z and Putin a run for the money. Yeah. Like I say, sounds good in theory, but a lot of Canadians love them some government. So I'm with you, but 288,000 deaths last year in Canada. We will get less than 25 bump. Silk Kid 44. We will get less than 25 bump. Not sure what that meant. If they take all of our guns, we are fucked. We can't let them. Yeah. Well, yeah. Never allow anyone. All right. Only people that are slaves to a ruling class would allow such thing. Hey, what's going on? Jake Fillmore, sorry I'm a little late to get into your chat or your comment. Yeah, I guess I'm about an hour or a half hour behind. So I'm trying to catch up there now, folks. I am in new NB and our numbers do not justify. No, I know. Well, the numbers there's like basically everyone has recovered. There hasn't been one death. There hasn't been one death in New Brunswick. Not one. Well, I haven't checked today, or was it late yesterday? So since yesterday, the day before, when the last time I checked, there wasn't one death, and the cases are very, very minor. And most of the cases have recovered with only maybe a dozen or two that haven't fully recovered as of yet. But like I say, not one death in this province yet, but still on lockdown. So yeah, I hear you, Missy. I'm here too. Missy. Actually, I know I'm Missy. I don't know if you're that Missy. But, you would know me if you're the Missy I'm talking about anyways. I'm outside Bob Cajun where deaths at Pinecrest Nursing Home were big news. Yeah. Somebody failed miserably at that nursing home. Or I'd say more than one person failed miserably because they didn't do a very good job of protecting the people in that particular facility, did they? I didn't see that, but I tell you, I did watch a fairly interesting documentary from, what was it, that Epoch Times, I believe it was. I believe I went to share it actually to my Facebook page, and it was it that one or a different one? But it was like a mini documentary. If you go to the Epoch Times, you'll see it. Something to do with COVID-19 anyways. Like I say, a documentary. But yeah, Facebook wouldn't even allow me to share it. Well, I could have, but then it would have came with this thing that this is misinformation, all this stuff. So, if you want to watch it, check it out for yourself. But I don't know. It seemed like they had some pretty good information contained within it. But once again, it would be considered wrong think. So, there's that. Yeah, it is. It is for me now, there, Jake. But that's the thing, actually. Right now, what is it? 1 p.m. So it's actually what 9. Yeah, it's like 9 p.m. if you're on. It's 9 p.m. and if you're in like BC, like the far west coast. If you're in Alberta, it's like 10 p.m. It's just lunch if you're in Eastern time. So it just depends on what part of the country you are. So technically speaking, right? Technically speaking, like I say, if you're going to correct me, you got to be able to. I could definitely be corrected, but I'm going to make you work for it. What about lasagna gardening? Oh yeah, I'm definitely. Well, like I said, me and the wife are already big time into the gardening. Just looking through, trying to go back up through the comments here. All right. Okay, looks like I'm pretty much done with the comments for now, so I'm going to get back to covering the rest of the articles that I had lined up. Because, like I said, I definitely want to get this stuff, especially when you're talking about the long-term care homes. Because, like I say, this is the place. This is the exact place, and the reason why I love covering these long-term care home incidents and stories is because, like I say, these are literally the people that we should be doing the most at protecting, right? These are the very vulnerable people that, like I say, those hacks in the media or all these altruists, these bleeding heart lefties would constantly say, well, we got to protect them. We got to protect them. Well, I agree. 100%. I agree. We should be protecting the most vulnerable among us. How good a job are people doing at that? Well, doesn't seem to be a very good one. In province after province after province after province, we're seeing report after report after report where it's those long-term facilities that are actually having the largest percentage of not just outbreaks, but deaths, right? And obviously that's the case because you're talking about places that have very vulnerable people. So this first article out of, let me make sure everyone can see that. So yeah, so this first article out of Montreal updated COVID-19 in Quebec, long-term care seniors arriving at hospital underfed and dehydrated. So even prior to COVID-19, and I've even been a little bit, actually, I won't bring actually anything personal into this thing, but this has caused me to kind of question a few things even myself. But I'll like I say, I'll leave that speculation. I'll leave that still rolling around in my own head. But very interesting story at the very least. So COVID-19 Quebec, long-term care seniors arriving at hospitals, underfed and dehydrated, doctor says. Premier describes pandemic in Quebec as existing in two worlds, seniors' homes and everywhere else. This was reported by Verity Stevenson and Benjamin Shingler, April 23rd, 2020. A doctor in Montreal's Jewish General Hospital says patients from long-term care homes are arriving in need of urgent care, not necessarily because of COVID-19, but because they are underfed and dehydrated. So even without COVID-19, these people are obviously not being properly taken care of, right? So even in the absence of this COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of people in these long-term care facilities, like these socialist type institutions that we all have propped up. Like I say, I don't know if this particular one is a private facility, but like I say, because government has its hands on so many things, it's hard to tell what's private or public these days. And then there's that middle, that gray area where it's, well, they're kind of private, but they're subsidized in some way by government. So it's like, well, are they private or are they public? Because I'll tell you, in an actual truly free market environment where there was no such thing as government long-term facilities and they were private facilities, then everybody, and if you were a child or a grandchild putting your parent or your grandparent in these facilities, you would want to make sure that that contract that you read that stipulates that they have to take care of your aged and elderly parent or grandparent, and that they would be personally culpable or responsible if they failed, or whoever that works in those facilities would be held personally responsible or culpable for failure to do so. That's the thing with government. It destroys all personal responsibility and culpability and places it in the hands of, oh, you just sue the state, sue the government, or sue the corporation, and then nobody gets punished, and all that happens is people get doled out money afterwards, right? Doesn't correct anything, doesn't change anything. Just here, let me pay you off after the fact, right? Didn't stop anything from happening. This is the problem with having these massive socialist programs, is there's no way of actually holding anyone to account. And we see this time and time again. This is not the first incident, and it's definitely not going to be last. It's a continual ongoing thing. So these are patients who are required to be fed by someone else. They need to be given water by someone else. Vin Kim Guam, an emergency physician, told CBC Montreal's Daybreak they're not. And so they're coming with quite serious health consequences as a result. And that's another thing. If these people are already coming in these kind of precarious situations, well, not only are they vulnerable just by the fact that their age and their immune system is already compromised, or they may have other conditions, but if they're being malnourished and not properly taken care of or dehydrated, well, that's going to place them in an even more vulnerable situation, right? And then let's say that they do end up contacting the virus, well, and they die. What are they going to do? Blame it on the virus? When in reality, you could suggest that, hey, almost starving or being dehydrated, yeah, that probably was a major contributing factor to the death, right? Once again, all these things just allows people to skirt responsibility, personal responsibility, and just come up with an excuse later. Oh, they died of COVID-19. Let's just blame it on COVID. Oh, we'll just get someone else to pay for it. Meanwhile, these people are not obviously doing their duties as they're supposed to. Anyways, it's rough, folks. It's rough stuff. Okay. Goyen, who is also vice president of Doctors Without Borders in Switzerland, where he lives part of the time, said what is happening in long-term care homes, known in French as centres d'hébergement de soins, centres d'hébergement de soins de longue durée, holy crap, is a humanitarian crisis, right? Not even talking about the COVID, just the way that people are treated in these long-term facilities in Quebec is a humanitarian crisis. So how's that, like I say, how's that socialism working out for you, right? Might give a lot of people, especially boomers, to start thinking about when you do get to the flip side of this things, how well are you really going to be taken care of, right? Might want to think about those things. Maybe want to start mending some relationships with some of your younger family members and hope that they'll take care of you instead, right? Because that used to be what we humans did, is we took care of each other. Roughly 80% of Quebec's total death due to COVID-19 have been residents of senior homes and CHSLDs. 80% of the total deaths due to COVID-19 have been residents of senior homes and these long-term care facilities. 80%, right? And as we're seeing, a lot of them are coming in not just with vulnerabilities, but being already treated and placed in even more vulnerable position by the fact that they're not being properly nourished or hydrated. And with many healthcare workers forced into isolation after contacting the illness themselves, many long-term care homes have been unable to provide residents with the most basic level of care. So once again, folks, A lot of fail going on, right? Quebec Health Minister Daniel McCann said up to 4,000 healthcare workers have fallen ill, and more than half of them are still needed in long-term care homes. At the Jewish General Hospital, Goyen said it's increasingly getting patients from overwhelmed CDSLs. What we were seeing is that some of these facilities are so overwhelmed that they are sending us patients for basic nursing care that they are no longer able to offer, he said. So once again, these facilities are proven to be abstract failures. And now a lot of the patients that are going to the hospital, that's filling up those hospital beds, right? And preventing other people that have from having those hospital beds is because these facilities aren't even properly being maintained or in a properly structured environment where the facilities are doing what needs to do to take care of these aging people. Anyways, folks, like I say, this is freaking ridiculous. And now, they've sent in 1,000 members of the Canadian Armed Forces to help with the crisis. But like I say, just like it's just a nonstop. Think about how many incidents we've already heard just in this one stream alone. How many incidents we've already heard, or as I'm reporting on and dealing with in this stream, how much fail, like how much government fail that's taken place. And like I say, there's more to this story. That's not the only one. We got another CBC article. This one, there we go. This one is CBC Montreal, COVID-19 in Quebec. We need you, says Legault, of 9,500 workers absent from healthcare network. Death toll rises to 1,243 with 207 people in intensive care. This once again is reported by Verity Stevenson and Benjamin Shingler. Oh, and Colin Harris, April 23rd, 2020. What? Wait a minute. Does this not look like the same thing here? Wait now. Quebec Premier Francois Legault said there are 9,500 workers absent from Quebec's healthcare network as the number of COVID-19 cases continue to rise. In the last 24 hours alone, 800 more people have not shown up to work, bringing the total number of absences to 9,500, he said. This labor shortage is especially felt in the province's long-term care homes. Among those absent, 4,000 workers are infected with COVID-19. In his daily update on the situation in Quebec on Thursday, Legault issued a plea to health workers who have finished their 14-day quarantine period but are still at home. Yeah, after you've already been home or contact, come on back and like. But these what it is a lot of these people are like, well, wait a minute, no, I don't have to, and I can get that CRE or that CERB, right? So, this once again. Intentional or unintentional, whatever. It's a government program, so it could be either or, right? But these programs that are paying people to stay home, well, it's incentivizing apparently a lot of people to just stay home, which is placing a whole lot of these seniors in these long-term care facilities in even more vulnerable situation or risky conditions. So, hey, once again, folks, imagine that. Imagine that, another government program that's actually, like I say, going to prove to be more harmful than it is helpful. We need you, he said. We are not taking any risks with your safety. Well, actually, they're making that determination for themselves. Legal. Right? Shit. He said the province has the necessary protective equipment, such as masks and gloves. The supply of gowns was running low, but Quebec companies are now stepping up to make more. On Thursday, the premier announced 109 more deaths related to COVID-19, bringing a total to 1,243. There are 873 more cases in the province for a total of 21,838. 8 more people are in intensive care, bringing a total to 207, and 1,411 people are currently hospitalized. The goal has described the pandemic in Quebec as existing in two worlds. The beleaguered long-term care homes, known in French, about 80%. About 80% of those who have died were in long-term care homes or senior homes, and 97%. So let's add statistics, right? Or fact. So think about this. Now, this is just in Quebec, that province alone, but it's once again anecdotal evidence, right? So 80% of those people who have died in Quebec were in long-term care homes or seniors' homes, and 97% were over the age of 70. So this constant talk where they're trying to say that all the younger people are, now I'm not saying young people, who don't have health conditions, right, or are really in bad health or poor lung capacity, like certain people in younger age cohorts could definitely be vulnerable to these things. But according to this, it seems to be predominantly affecting those who are like 70 years or older, like the seniors in this country, right? Uh, so anyways, yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's quite a bit of information already with that. And yeah, okay, I think I'm pretty much done with that article. I'll post, like I say, that'll be down in the description of the old stream as well. So close that. And was there one more? Oh yeah, yeah. Listen to this one. So this still dealing with Quebec. Oh, I see. I'm down to 17. Must have been because I didn't want. Yeah, I see the ones that were just using my YouTube channel to find other YouTube channels. Like you can find YouTube channels on your own. You don't have to use my channel to find other YouTube channels. But anyways, I see they must have all left the stream. All right, that's fine. But yeah, so check this one out. Pressure getting to you, Legault? Yeah, as it should be. Like I say, that's the thing with these central planners. Yeah, you got to remember, you are the people that are going to prove to be the most culpable and responsible for this. So yeah, you really should be starting to think more critically about these things. Anyways, as it's being shared here in this particular article, it seems like Legault is definitely feeling the pressure and the heat. So out of the National Post, coronavirus, Premier Legault pitches idea of herd immunity. The concept of natural immunization does not mean we are going to use children as guinea pigs, right? So, hey, maybe you should have been doing this long ago, right? Maybe this would have been a better strategy originally. Going to be kind of hard to find that out considering that none of the provinces were allowed to try that particular experiment. So how are we going to know? It's going to be really hard to gauge or measure what the difference outcome would it be, because once again, all the provinces tried to play that one size fits all approach type of deal, right? Not much divergences across this country, whereas at least in the United States, they will get a better representation of different examples because some states have remained open while others haven't. So like I say, at least we'll have to look to our southern neighbors once again to get any real insight as to which strategy proved more effective. This is reported by Philip Arthur. Yeah, Philip Arthur, I guess. Montreal Gazette, April 23rd, 2020. It may sound frightening, but once Quebecers understand the concept of herd immunity, they will see it as the best way of the current pandemic, Premier Francois Legault said Thursday. Moving to prepare citizens for what lies ahead when the lockdown is gradually phased out, Legault said allowing large numbers of non-vulnerable people to get the virus naturally is Quebec's best defense against a second, perhaps worse, wave that could overwhelm the hospital system. Like I say, that seems like it would have been or could have potentially been a good strategy. Little late to the game, but and because they're so late in the game, it's actually not going to be a proper experiment in whether herd immunity is going to work, right? Because if they had it done originally, then that would be a much better experiment. But this one, well, I guess you could call it like a quasi experiment in this, but we'll see. We'll see how it pans out at the end. The concept of natural immunization does not mean we are going to use children as guinea pigs, Legault said at his Thursday briefing. What we are saying is people who are less at risk, people who are under 60, can get a natural immunization and impede the wave. Legault's remarks immediately sparked a heated debate on social media, with some participants saying the province is playing with fire. But Legault noted 97% of Quebec's deaths have been people over 60. Of the 109 new deaths in the last 24 hours in Quebec, 93 were in seniors' residence. Holy shit. Like I say, wow. When we better understand the concept of natural immunization, the idea of gradually reopening Quebec becomes less scary, Legault said. It even becomes desirable. Noting a vaccine against the virus could be a year or two away, he says it's not realistic to think Quebec could spend all that time locked down. That's the thing. If they're all admitting, or at least, even if there's any politicians that are admitting that we can't keep people locked down indefinitely, well then, like I say, where's the case to be made for another month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months? And can we please get some goddamn evidence-backed facts to tell us why they're coming to these conclusions or drawing these conclusions? Or continue to implement these very strict restrictions on our freedom of movement, which is supposed to be a fundamental and inherent right for all Canadians? Can we at least get some goddamn real evidence as to why they are already being greatly restricted and impeded upon, and are being suggested by other politicians or other premiers or Justin Trudeau himself that they might continue to ramp this up or keep us locked down indefinitely or for the foreseeable future? Can we get some goddamn evidence as to the reasoning why? Because once again, we're seeing the narrative shifting now. You might want to do some damage control, folks. The worst thing Quebec could do is allow everyone out from confinement in bulk in September, he said. The idea is to go slowly and let people less at risk develop antibodies. If we did a big poll or a referendum, I doubt Quebecers would feel like staying confined for 2 years because it could be that long before we have a vaccine, Legault said. So we need natural immunization, but gradually at the same time as protecting the most vulnerable. Like I say, we could do that. You can't even protect the most vulnerable. I mean, you've already basically admitted, and the facts are already contained within this article and the other ones I've already read, that you're not doing a good job of protecting the vulnerable. So I'm not with the political fucking rhetoric already. Just admit you're a failure and say, listen, can you hand off the reins, right, to someone that actually knows what the fuck they're talking about? Because it doesn't seem like any of the politicians, the pundits, or those in the media in this country know the damn thing what they're doing, because they're constantly reversing course or contradict themselves on a continuing, ongoing basis. Sad reality. Like, what a country we live in. These are the leaders of this country. Fuck, I wouldn't want to follow them, that's for sure. Lead you right off a cliff. Horatio Arunda, Quebec's director of public health, estimated Quebec's current rate of infection is low, between 5 and 10%, probably higher in Montreal and Laval, where the bulk of Quebec's COVID-19 cases are clustered. To establish a certain mass immunity, between 60 and 80% of Quebecers would have to develop the antibodies, he said. So first we open up and see how it emerges in the population. Arruda said, we will test certain groups of the population to try to document the rate of transmission. According to the government's own health literature, 80% of people who get COVID-19 recover naturally with no particular treatment. But as Quebec has seen, the disease can be very serious for older people or people with pre-existing conditions, such as respiratory issues. The herd immunity idea is controversial even in epidemiology circles, but is often considered the lesser of two evils, right? Often considered. So it's considered controversial even in epidemiology circles, but is often considered the lesser of two evils. So once again, if you go by the actual wording and how that's written down, is actually, it would be better option than locking down everybody and destroying the economy, right? That's what it says to me. Yeah, I understand the English language quite well, and that's exactly what that says to me. The minute we stop the current confinement, the virus will spread more, and we will see an increase in the number of cases, hospital and ICU admissions. St. Justine Hospital medical microbiologist and epidemiologist Dr. Caroline Quach said in an interview. But the goal is to control the spread so our healthcare capacity is not overwhelmed. Since 80-90% of the population will have mild disease, is a possible thing to do. So listen, in reality, what they're saying is they just don't have the facilities, and the healthcare system in this country sucks in comparison to how it's been touted in recent years. That's all it is. This is just damage control and completely political rhetoric to try to misdirect our eyes away from the very real fact that the socialist healthcare system in this country, yeah, it sucks, and it sucks big time, and it's not very well or easily adapted to deal with anything such as this, as once again is being proven here in this in article. So anyways, that'll be enough of that, folks. That'll be enough of that. And of course, last but definitely not least, let me see. No, there's two more, actually, two more. So let's do this one as a contrast towards like I say, the other provinces, because like now you already have Legault. He's kind of out there, kind of alluding to, the pressure's getting to him. He's seeing how things are failing. Let's try a reverse course. Let's try a different strategy, right? Because obviously the current strategy isn't working out very well, right? So once again, big fail, but at least he's acknowledging somewhat, right? Still playing politics with it, but at least acknowledging that the original strategy has been a big old fail. Let's try something else. Well, there's another province in this country that's about ready to try a different course of action, and it's on the west portion of this particular country, and that's Saskatchewan. So as you can see in this article, we got we're very cautious. So this is from the Financial Post. We're very cautious not to screw it up. All eyes on Saskatchewan as businesses get okay to reopen. Opening up a restaurant if nobody is showing up is pointless. Economist. Well, no shit, Dick Tracy, economist. What the hell do they find these guys, right? Where do they find these guys? Jeffrey Morgan is the contributor to this article on April 23rd. Calgary, Jason Zalewski will be watching Saskatchewan's coronavirus infection rates closely to determine whether or not he reopens his barbershop on May 19th, as allowed under the plan Premier Scott Moe announced Thursday. If any of his staff aren't comfortable working in close quarters with clients by this date, Zalewski said he would not force them to come back to work at Blue Cord Barber Co. in Central Regina. See if he could. What do you think? That's like, what kind of employer? Like listen to the mindset of these people that work for corporations or even apparently even small business these days. They're so used to this socialism and this top-down kind of authoritarianism, this cronyism. Like, holy shit! To think that he would not force his them to come back to work. Force them? Listen. You couldn't force shit, right? Unless the people are willing to do so, right? You can't. What are you going to do? Send the police or a brigade or a security force out to drag them in there? Well, thanks for not forcing them. But I mean, that's the way it should be anyways, right? If you don't want to go to work, nobody should be able to force you to go to work. But if you want to go to work, yeah, you should be allowed to go to work. Simple as that. It's called freedom. It's called liberty. What the hell? They'll always have a spot there where when they feel comfortable working, he said. So kind. Adding that his barbers like this across the province will be wearing mask, gloves, disinfecting all chairs and surfaces after every customer, who will also need to wear masks. As a result, Saskatchewan shop owners like Zalewski aren't expecting to return to business as usual, as the province becomes the first in Canada to reopen its economy after the new coronavirus pandemic forced a shutdown. On Thursday, Moe announced a 5-phase plan to reopen businesses, beginning with medical services such as dentist office on May 4th, followed by outdoor recreation and golf courses on May 15th. Phase 2 will allow retail, beauty, and hair salons to open on May 19th with certain restrictions. For example, there should be no more than 10 people in the stores. Anyways, folks, so like I say, so it looks like, and I'll obviously make sure that this is linked in the description of the video as well, but obviously it looks like Saskatchewan is at least going to try dipping their toes in the water and start to open up the economy at least a little bit, right? A little bit. Now, there was one last article that two more articles that I did want to cover and get to in this stream. Let me see where we're at. Oh, I'm at 2 hours and 6 minutes. I might have gone a little bit longer than I probably should, actually. Yeah, because people do well to even watch. All right, I'll save these ones for another stream, because do well to get people to even watch this 2 hours into it. So that's what I'll do, is I'll set the next ones aside for the next stream, and I'll just start to tie up this stream and see what else we got here down in the old comment section. Okay. Funny, we would know better how to run a country than they do. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The free market, you don't have to run shit. Freedom, you don't run anything. It's just like the free market is just people interacting and engaging voluntarily, freely. Like that's the thing. It's the beautiful thing of the invisible hand. As the phrase was coined originally by Adam Smith, is the invisible hand of the market. It's just, there doesn't need to be any central planning or micromanage of economics. It's just humans having the ability to voluntarily interact with each other economically. And because if you had proper and sound money as a means to measure, exchange, and retain value, then like I say, if this stuff can be all easily done, whether you're talking about healthcare or building them roads or whatever this product or service or anything that you can conjure up with, yes, there's absolutely no need for a band of politicians or preemptive use of force or violence or theft or forced wealth or income redistribution to get any of this stuff done. And it's been proven time and time again by libertarians, not just like myself, but many others as well. But until the rest of society, or the rest of Canadians in particular, because that's who I usually like to speak to, or focus my attention on, until the rest of Canadians get to learn about these very fundamental principles of liberty, both social and economic, then they're just going to constantly be looking for these so-called experts to constantly dictate and micromanage every aspect of their lives. Why? Because they don't realize that, no, it's freedom. Freedom's what you're missing, folks. Liberty. Liberty's the answer. It's always the answer. It's always going to be the answer. But until people start to realize that, they're going to keep running time and time again to those who they deem to be in these positions of authority, or these so-called leaders that constantly let them down, or prove to be wholly inept at doing so, right? Anyways, thanks for everyone that showed up the stream. I really appreciate that. Like I said, I'm going to do another one. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or the next day, but yeah, I'm going to be doing as much as possible. I've already got 1, 2, 3. I actually had 3 more articles to cover, and pretty sure, and there's some pretty important stuff actually, but they're all, I kind of try to keep them all so they're kind of piggyback off of each other, right? So these will kind of, there's a couple of them that kind of deal with the same situation. They are dealing with the COVID-19, but you're talking about comparisons in other countries such as Sweden and stuff, and how that's all panned out. So I'll save that, like I say, for the next stream. But I do appreciate everyone that showed up this stream. Hopefully, like I say, we'll get some peeps starting to join up, not just on YouTube, but on Periscope, because this stream went out both this time. It went out to the YouTube, my YouTube channel, and also went out to that Periscope channel that I now have. And like I say, I'm going to be trying to add more to it. If I can get this to stream out to a few other platforms, so I have redundancy built in, just in case YouTube does decide to, suppress my content further, then I would like to have at least alternative options. And that's another thing. Actually, Gab, I think they're getting really close to offering their online or their streaming service. And hopefully I can use them as well. And then, like I say, then I'll have even more redundancy built in. But like I say, thanks to everyone. Oh, let me just read Missy here. Ben, I enjoyed this stream a lot. Thank you for all you do for us. Going to get you followers. Okay. Oh, thank you very much, Missy. Like I say, I really appreciate that too. And like I say, anything anybody can do to help me out, like I say, it's not just for me to be, it's not just about me as the popularity, but for my voice to mean anything. Of course, unfortunately, this is the way it works, right? It's one person standalone. If there's one person standalone, even if they're shouting the truth at the top of their lungs, if the majority of the people that are in disagreement with them are in larger numbers, well, you know how that works, right? People have that herd mentality, right? And they're going to try to pivot towards the ones that are truly disinformed them, when in reality, I'm the one that might be alone, all right? And I might not represent a majority. I'm definitely a minority in this country, but at least I have the right intentions, and from what I gather, the right information as well. Anyways, thank you very much, Missy. And like I say, I really appreciate any support you can help. And thank you, Mr. G. Rich. I appreciate you always being there, and all the support you've helped me. And like I say, the fact that I can do these streams right now is obviously thanks to your generous donation, and got me to be able to have access to StreamYards in its entirety. So thank you. And thank you as well, Ken Rose, for your, what happened to your membership thing here? Ken Rose, thank you for being there for all Canadians. Looks like something changed on your, is it because you, did you up it? I'll have to check on that, Ken Rose, there later, because there's something on my end of it. It might be a glitch or something faulty with the stream or something, but it's showing your membership badge in black for some reason. I haven't seen that yet, because when I click on Mr. G. Rich, oh no, Mr. G. Rich is too. Oh no, it must be because I changed the color. Well, that's weird. It shows up green on there, but when I click on it, oh, I get it. It's because it uses the color. Okay, never mind. My bad, folks. My bad. I just want to make sure that your membership thing was still good and you weren't having any issues with that. Because like I said, I really appreciate that you joining and becoming a member of the channel. Oh, you upgraded your membership. Oh, awesome. Well, actually, even if you did or did not, Ken, like I say, it's because I change the colors on these things all the time now, as you can see, to try to match my shirt and tie, because that's why it looked like your membership was in different color, but it's because the font's different color. But anyways, thank you very much. Like I say, I really appreciate your support. Group hug and bless you all. Yes, thank you, pseudoscientists, and group hug for everyone. And thanks, like I say, for everyone that had joined up the stream. I'll see you in the next one. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.